Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday, March 3rd. It's my granddaughter's 4th birthday today. Gonna make sure I wish her a happy birthday. They're on their Disney cruise. Right now, they sent me some pictures yesterday. It looked like they're having fun. I was looking at the price of the cruises this morning. Yikes. Not cheap for the Disney cruises, that's for sure. War with Iran. Just some random videos. Mostly war with Iran, I think today is what it is. Today is a Jewish holiday. What is today? Purim. Celebrates the events described in the book of Esther. In ancient Persia, a royal official named Haman plotted to destroy the Jewish people. Queen Esther, who was Jewish but kept it a secret, risked her life to reveal the plot to the king and save her people. The story is dramatic, political tension, courage under pressure, and a complete reversal of fortune. The name Purim comes from the word pur, P-U-R, pur, meaning lots, because Haman cast lots to choose the date of destruction. The date of destruction. Yep, those tricky little Zionists love to use these Hebrew holidays, Jewish holidays, to bomb and attack. And then we're not really privy to it because I've never heard of this holiday. So, just kind of weird if you look up a lot of the conflicts, how they coincide with some of these Jewish holidays. Very interesting. Patty, good morning. Daniel Berry Sports, good morning. Magooch, good morning. Hope you guys are doing good. Yeah, so let's just get into it, I guess. We'll play some Jeopardy a little bit later. Start with Polymarket. I mean, what better way than to bump the old savings account than to bet on if the Iranian regime will fall by June 30th. I don't know how all this stuff works. Looks like my internet is slow right now. 38% chance. So if your bank account's a little low and you want to increase your fundage, maybe you want to bet on whether or not the Iranian regime will fall. Because now we can bet on this type of stuff. 38% chance. By March 31st, 16% chance. By December 31st, 49% chance. So I don't know exactly how it works, but I think it says yes is 16 cents. Meaning you bet 16 cents, you win $1. Something like that. If it does fall by the 31st. If it falls by the 30th, you bet 38 cents, you win $1. If you're saying no, it doesn't. Let's say I bought one share. Yeah, you bet 63 cents to win $1. Now, if it's yes, you're betting 38 cents to win $1. Will the Iranian regime survive U.S. military strikes? 63% chance. I mean, it's just wild. Are there really people betting on that kind of stuff? Probably. I guess I'm not surprised, really. We bet on everything. Why not, right? Right. The thing is with this, it's like, who's betting on it? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like a very good proposition unless you know what's going to happen. I mean, do we have people in our military and in our government that are betting, putting money on this? I don't know. It's all very strange. It's all very strange. I understand gambling, but I don't get this. I don't even know how it's a thing, like how this is even allowed. It really just kind of, and you're talking about American soldiers dying, and then you have poly market where people can literally, like, it's one thing where you have warmongers that, profit from construction contracts and, different contracts when we go to war. This is just the poor man can make a buck. You can turn your 38 cents into $1, off the life of Americans. Why? It doesn't make any sense, but that's just the world we live in right now, I guess. It is the world we live in. People with too much money. Yeah, I guess. Sorry, I lost my my whole screen went haywire. Yeah, I don't know. It's just really strange. And I don't know. We'll move on. Let's get to the X-Files. Shall we? Things like that'll make my brain hurt. The Deadliest Catch. This guy died on the Aleutian. The Lady Aleutian, I think it's called. 25-year-old deckhand Todd Meadows. I just seen this. It's kind of weird because this is from the Captain Rick Shelford. February 25th was the most tragic day in the history of the Aleutian Lady on the Bering Sea. We lost our brother, Todd Meadows. He was the newest member of our crew. It doesn't say how he died. And it was on the 25th, but they're just now making this public. And he's calling it the most tragic day in the history of the Aleutian Lady. So I'm not sure what that means, but rest in peace to Todd Meadows. I haven't watched the Deadliest Catch in a long time, but I used to watch it. And I did work with the guy who's friends with the Hillstrands, and I didn't meet him, but I seen Andy Hillstrand from the Time Bandit when I was working as a vendor one year. He was up at the fireworks stands. But pretty sad. Did I sell all your product the other day? Yeah, I did. I did really well this weekend. I sold about 40 dozen strawberries, 20 dozen on Saturday and 20 dozen on Sunday, along with a bunch of other chocolates and the little candy barks and stuff that I have, pretzels and shortcakes. And I finally got my truck fixed yesterday. And, I've replaced more parts than I needed to, but at least it's it's finally running properly again. What a pain in the ass that was. Still got a couple things I need to do, but nothing related to the issues that I was having with the wheels. So, and this guy that I got working on my truck, man, it's too good to be true, because he has a shop and a lift, and, his price, I paid him double what he wanted yesterday, because he only wanted $50 to do a U-joint and a ball joint, which I was there for 3 hours, and he had to take the whole drive line or drive shaft thing off, and it took him forever to get that U-joint out. And I said, how much I owe you? He said $50. He only charged me $50 to do one ball joint last time. This time it's a ball joint and a U-joint. For 3 hours, he said $50. I was like, oh wow. I gave him $100. Yeah, even then I felt like that was kind of cheap, but so yeah, I feel blessed to have that guy, and I'm gonna take advantage of it while I can, get as much work done as I can right now. I have a little oil leak that needs to be addressed, but I was looking at your cupcakes. Do you have to pipe the frosting? Hold on, let me look at my. It's really pretty. Thank you. Yeah, I use the main tip that I use is the 1M. They'll have like numbers and letters on the piping tips. That's like the main tip, I would say. I should do some piping. I'm not an expert piper by no means, but I am really good at the 1M, because that's the one that I use the most. But I watch some videos on piping techniques sometimes. I'm not very good with chocolate. I'm okay, but there's some, those people that do like flow cookies. You got to be really good with the consistency of your chocolate or your icing to, otherwise it's not going to work. But I use, my main 99% of the time I use a vanilla whipping ice that I buy at a restaurant supply store. It's a frozen whipping cream. You put it in the refrigerator, it turns to liquid, and then you whip it up. And it's already like vanilla flavored. I like it a lot better than whipped cream. I mean, you can use regular whipped cream too, but it's got a vanilla flavor to it. And yeah, not a whole lot. No, not a whole lot to the 1M tip, but when you're doing cupcakes, it makes all the difference in the world. I see a lot of people that I've inspired to do like bake sales and fundraisers and stuff like that. And none of them do the piping. It's always just a butter knife to the frosting on top of the cupcake, which is fine. But if you're trying to sell them and you want to sell them, then I would use the 1M tip, And I don't use buttercream on my cupcakes. I use the whipping ice. I don't like buttercream. I think it's too sweet myself. Even for like, I'll do strawberry crunch and fruity pebble are two of my popular cupcakes. I'll just dab the whipping ice, big glob of that, and then dip it into the topping. So they're a little more messy that way, but they're very good. The buttercream, yeah, and I'll make the buttercream from scratch. My ex, she's always like, you should got to do it from scratch. It don't matter to me. I don't like it, and I only like to sell, what I like. So, in fact, I've a couple times I've done like huge parties where they've ordered, just like. One party they ordered 600 strawberries and 10 dozen cupcakes and a whole bunch of cookies and they ordered everything. It was thousands of dollars it cost them. And I subcontracted the cupcakes out to my ex because they wanted buttercream. I didn't even want to deal with it. So, and it's funny because, you know, she's the one that even got me into this. The only time I've heard people tell me that these are amazing cupcakes, you know, they're just like, they're delicious and everything, you know, oh my gosh, they're so good. But the only time I heard it was the best cupcake I've ever had was when I seen this guy, he was like devouring a cupcake, but it was one of her cupcakes that I brought. So good for her, you know. I don't even know what to frost my cutouts with anymore. I don't like any frosting. Oh, yeah, the cutout cookies, the sugar cookies. Now, I will make an exception for the sugar cookies. I do like a little bit of that icing on there for whatever reason. It's a good combination, I guess. But that's about it. I will eat a sugar cookie with a little bit of buttercream on it. Because, yeah, what else are you going to put on a sugar cookie, you know? You couldn't put the whipping ice on there. I mean, you could try the whipping ice if you over whipped it till, like, if you have a KitchenAid mixer, you actually hear it going bat 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 bat. It's like coming off the sides of the wall, and you add some vanilla pudding to it to kind of like shelf stabilize it even more. You might be able. But, you know, it wouldn't be something that you'd want to package. It'd be something that, you know, you just would want to make and eat at the house or, you know, maybe for a party, I guess. Trump, everyone's saying he don't look good. I mean, he has a rash or some huge red mark on the side of his neck. I don't know if I have a picture of that or not, but he just don't look, you know, he don't look too happy right now. Yeah, I mean, hundreds of people, if not over 1,000 people, have died already, you know, Americans included. So, nothing really to be smiling about. Good morning, sweetie. Hello, hello. Teacher workday, doctor appointment, and going in work late, listening from the beginning. Okay, not a whole lot going on in the beginning. But I hope you're doing well. Hope the doctor's appointment goes good. How old is Trump? I think he's like, what, 78? Let's see. I know he's going to be 80 when he gets out of office, I think. He's 79. 79. Scott Ritter exposes the terrifying reality that Trump literally rented out the American military to Israeli billionaire Miriam Adelson for $250 million. And what a great deal that is.
That happened. The American Air Force has been rented out and to Miriam Adelson. And if she got that for $250 million, that's the bargain of the century, isn't it? The American armed forces have essentially been rented out to Adelson and her boss, Netanyahu.
No, you're 100% correct. And this may be the downfall of Donald Trump. And I pray it is the downfall of Donald Trump. I may actually become a religious man if it result. You know, regime change cuts two ways. It's a double-edged sword. Donald Trump has unsheathed the regime change sword and sought to weld it against Iran. But in doing so, he's created the foundation of his own demise. You see, he did run on a platform where he was the president of peace. There is posters out there that make this proclamation. He promised Americans that he would put America first, that he would make America great again. Tucker Carlson had a very fascinating interview with Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, where Mike Huckabee openly on international TV said that Greater Israel is a thing and that it's okay for the Israelis to aspire to take the territory of virtually all of their Arab neighbors. He truly believes this. Ted Cruz believes this. Donald Trump believes this. Others, but the American people don't believe this because the American people aren't willing to die for this. And when Tucker Carlson released this, the Israeli press, I was reading it, they got very worried. They said, we being Israel, need to be very careful here because there is now a serious divide amongst those people we need in the United States to maintain this friendship, the Republican base, the MAGA base, and we're going to lose them. With Mike Huckabee's words and others, because they fear that Israel is being put ahead of America. Well, as you said, when Miriam Adelson buys the United States Air Force, United States Navy, and allows it to be put in harm's way by attacking Iran, who pose no threat whatsoever to the American people or the American nation, this proves that Donald Trump is an Israeli first president. Make Israel great again is his calling card. And
yep. And that's what it is. How did we know that when we were going to go to Bally's or the Sands or any of these casinos, we were giving our money to fight wars? That essentially that, I truly believe that. Tommy Stiggs, good morning, sir. How are you? This war is financed. I mean, obviously it's financed by the taxpayers' monies and lives. But the GoFundMe came from Miriam Adelson, her $250 million donation to Trump to become president. So in return, this is what she gets, Beautiful day, blessed with a wake up and a new opportunity. Yeah, say that. I feel the same, even though I'm bitching right now, but my truck is finally fixed. We're talking brakes and rotors, which I don't even need to include that in the conversation, but it just is what it is because, everybody has to do that once in a while. 2 lower ball joints, 2 wheel bearings, and a U-joint. And you're talking one mechanic who had a mental breakdown, who should not be a mechanic. He needs to go work at Dairy Queen. That guy, like seriously. The other mechanic said that he was trying to kill me. That he literally said that. He goes, this other guy was trying to kill you. When you take off the wheel, because you take off the tire, and then if you're going to replace the lower ball joint or the wheel bearing, you got to take off, maybe not for the ball joint, but for the wheel bearing, you got to take off the thing. Not just the wheel, you got to take off that whole thing. And the first mechanic beat the fucking screw to death to the point where he couldn't put it back on, so he put a replacement screw in. And this is called like a king screw or a crown screw, and it's got a fucking what do you call those things? The little pin that goes in, the little fucking pin thing, so it can't slide out. And he just puts a normal little fucking Home Depot bolt on my fucking thing. 2 of them, actually. One on one side on the top and one on the other side on the bottom. So, thank God I found this guy. This guy's way better, way cheaper, way better. And I was proud of myself yesterday because, I've been doing this now. I've considered myself a fucking professional mechanic now. If anybody needs their car worked on, I'll do it myself, because once you watch somebody do it, you become a professional, I guess, right? I mean, obviously I'm kidding, but I'm so fucking sick of dealing with the car shit. I did some research this time. I was like, I'm not going out there without the right part. So I knew the U-joint was going to be, I knew we were probably going to have to do the next lower ball joint. So I was going to buy that. I bought that. But I hear this clunk too. I'm like, that's not the ball joint. That sounds like the CV joint thing, U-joint. I've heard that noise before. Well, mine's got three different U-joints. And I'm like, fuck. So but the AI said the rear one would be the most likely culprit for what I was, the noise I was hearing and the vibration and everything. So I went ahead and bought that one too. And yeah, he goes, yeah, that definitely needs to be replaced. So boom, boom, 3 hours out there yesterday. Just sitting around watching him do it. Now it runs like a champ. It needs a valve cover, which is like $20. And he said he'll do that no problem. Get an oil change. It leaks a little bit of coolant, but it's got a new water pump and timing belt. So he said maybe there's just like a gasket or something that failed. The world has gone mad. Yeah. The mental breakdown of mechanic. Oh, you guys should have seen the mental breakdown. It was incredible. Ding, bang, bang, bang. Wrenches fucking slamming everywhere. I go out there. This is why I'm always broke. I don't charge anybody enough. The guy got $650 from me to do the pads and rotors and wheel bearings. And pads and rotors, obviously, no problem for if you're a mechanic. But the first wheel bearing fucking breakdown, mental fucking breakdown. He can't get it, And that's when I finally called another guy. I texted him and I was like, hey, man, this guy's having a fucking breakdown. Can you help me out? And he's like, yeah, no problem. So me and the breakdown mechanic drove out to the good mechanic's place. He pressed out the bearing, brought it back, and 2 more days later, the fucking breakdown mechanic is finally done, and my car still makes the same fucking noise. It makes even more noise. That literally, it made more noise than when he started. Literally. Because he forgot to put the dust cover back on the passenger wheel, and he had to cut it and wrap it. Oh my God. Are you serious? That is crazy. How great you have a mechanic that you can trust and get. Yeah. This guy is awesome. Way better. So yeah, I feel I'm ready to get back to work. I got plenty of things coming up this weekend. I'm going to a new location on Saturday. I'll probably double dip on Saturday because I have a distillery that I'm doing Saturday evening. Sunday, I have an event, a pop-up event at the country market. I had to deal with the Puyallup thing. I didn't deal with it. I just ignored it. I just quit going because of their fucking bullshit. So just kind of waiting for my new location to open back up at my new old location at Bigfoot Java. But yeah, I'm thinking about going out today. I just don't know where. If anything, I'll be working today. Like, I need to stock up on everything, actually. That's what I will do. I've already been to the store once this morning. But yeah, dealing with the car situation, no fun. But so I had the new mechanic did both ball joints and the U joint, and all it cost me was the price of the parts and $150. He was only going to charge me $100 for both jobs. 50 the first time and 50 the second time. I gave him 100 the second time. So, yeah, time to get back to work. But I basically have a new truck now. Feels like it needs shocks though or something. But yeah, just know if you go to Bally's, because I can't remember who runs Bally's. It's crazy. So yeah, Bally's, and then of course I don't think Sands is there anymore, but she still has Global Casino Interest, Miriam Adelson. The long short of it is some of your casino money could be going to fight this type of shit, to do this shit. So if you're not a fan of killing innocent school children in Iran, just be mindful of where you gamble. I mean, and that sounds kind of stupid to say, but it is a reality, I went down the rabbit hole of who owns the casinos, and good luck with that. You do get Black State, Black Rock, Vanguard, this real estate group, this investment group. You get very few names, but there is a couple names. But interestingly enough, you know, you guys know I always say that the government controls the outcome of sports, which how can you prove something like that? But I truly do believe that. Yesterday on Candace, she played a clip of Charlie Kirk talking about how Erica Kirk is related to Vince Lombardi. Her mother, Lori Francevy, they're direct descendants of the Lombardis. They have a lot of Green Bay's paraphernalia at their house. This is what Charlie Kirk said on video. I watched it yesterday on Candace. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting that all these people that are so pro-Zionist, Israel, warmongering, genocidal, homicidal, assassination maniacs all have casino ties? And I always wondered, I always asked this question, I even asked it to Tommy before, who are we really betting against at the sports books? You know, I'm not talking about street bookies or, you know, the names of the sport, the name on the sports book like William Hill or MGM. Like, who are the people? Who are the people that are backing those bets? When you decide you want to bet $10,000 on the Seahawks, who are you betting against? Really, not the casino. Who is really in charge of that shit? And I think I've kind of found the answer. We're starting to get close with the Miriam Adelson people and the TPUSA people and their descendants and where all this is leading to. It's all very interesting. It's all very, you know, and it kind of seems like it's them. So like, how could the bookies control the outcome of sports? Because it's them. They're the ones that are involved in the sports. Like they don't need to go knock on the quarterback's door in the middle of the night and threaten them. They are the sport. Like 100%, they are the entire organization. If that makes any sense. So it's all very interesting. A CNN journalist was arrested in Israel just recently for trying to film what's going on. They confiscated his phone and took him to jail.
Kameraman arkadaşım Ali Kahraman bana bu bilgiyi hemen hazırladı baktığımızda. Şimdi burada çok sayıda okay. Okay. Şu anda Savunma Bakanlığı telefonumuzu alıyor. Evet, şu anda indiriyoruz. Evet, okay. GPO kartı. Stop. Okay. Evet.
So there's that. Curtis Silwa has an opinion.
Do you have any comment about Iran and what our country is about to be doing over there?
Well, we shouldn't be in war. Trump said we wouldn't get in war. We're in more wars now than we've ever been before. That's why I never trust any politician.
Not even you?
Nope, never trust a politician. They must answer questions, always challenge authority.
Marco Rubio. Oh, they can make so many missiles a month, guys. I mean, if we don't stop this now, they can make this many missiles a month, and they're going to have this stockpile and blah, 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 blah. I mean, give me a fucking break.
They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month. They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also have.
Yeah.
They are producing.
So your sons and daughters must die. I mean, we know what we sign up for when we get into if you sign up for the American military, you know what you sign up for. It isn't like any of us didn't live through the Persian Gulf and all that bullshit. And I mean, so I guess, you know what I mean? I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like we didn't know what these guys are all about. This guy says that the Ayatollah Khomeini, you know, and I didn't realize that the leader of Iran was the same guy that's been in, you know, I didn't realize that this is the same guy that's been in power. I, you know, assumed that it had changed at least one time. I didn't realize it was the Ayatollah Khomeini guy. When I said that 90% of Americans didn't know who he was, I didn't realize it was the same guy. I guess I'm the only jackass. Anyway, this guy says that the Ayatollah Khomeini was the only one that was blocking Iran from making nuclear weapons. So now that he's gone, now what? You know what I mean? Are we just going to have a lawless land in Iran?
Was a miscalculation that will, you know, the historians will look back at it and just shake their heads and say, what the hell were they thinking? Think of this. The one guy in Iran that blocked for 36 years Iran's ability to develop a nuclear weapon, the one man who stood in the way, who said, we will not build a nuclear weapon, that's the guy the United States killed. So we're sitting there saying that, oh yeah, we're doing this so Iran doesn't threaten the world with a nuke. The Ayatollah Khamenei 36 years ago issued a fatwa, said, no, that is evil. We're not going to go down that path. And the United States killed him, or the Israelis did, or both. I mean, it was
all right,
a
Tommy.
Calculation.
Tommy's going into one of his famous meetings, guys. Quote unquote famous meetings. I'd like to go to one of those meetings one of these days. See what we're talking about. What are we talking about? Production analysis or something else? So we'll see when you get back, Tommy. Have fun at your meeting. You didn't know that was the same one either, Patty? Yeah, that surprised me. But I guess, you know, if you're a regime, you know, But yeah, I didn't realize it was that from when I was a kid, it was the same person. Tommy has a meeting. Yes, Tommy is in his quote unquote meeting. All right. So yeah, so you know, I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. And I thought there had to have been another story from the 80s. I know there was, but this one that here, where's it at? Give me 1 second here. I want to read a story. What's Sweet Tea saying? Hold on. A meeting about the spreadsheet he was working on. Yes. Isn't that funny? The Iran leader looked like a wizard in the 80s, and he still looked this. It's true. Yep, Tommy's in his famous meeting. Where's Steendu at? Rachel Corey. She was here in Olympia, Washington. It's right up the street from me. Killed by an Israeli army bulldozer in 2003 while protesting the Gaza Strip while they were under Israeli occupation. 23-year-old activist and student of Evergreen State College had traveled to the Gaza Strip as part of an international solidarity movement. On March 16th, while standing in the path of an Israeli Defense Force armored bulldozer in the city of Rafah to try to stop it from demolishing a home, she was crushed and fatally injured. So this is what these fucks do. Okay, they'll kill them. They'll run Americans over. And I mean, how fast does a bulldozer move? You know what I mean? Like that story fucking shocked me when I heard it. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I'm thinking what they did is they probably shot her and then ran her over. You know what I mean? It don't take much. Like you got to be fucking crazy, man, to stand there and let a bulldozer crush you. It ain't like you can't get out of the way. Bulldozers don't move that fast. So that don't make no sense. So because of that, because they want to run over and kill 23-year-old Americans from Olympia, I hope Iran bombs the fucking shit out of Israel. That's my own opinion. Okay. You guys don't have to agree with me. I hope they get what they deserve. I hope that those fucking 12,000 mile an hour hypersonic missiles fuck Tel Aviv up bad. That's just my own opinion. So that they don't think it's okay to fucking kill Americans, 23-year-old Americans with bulldozers. So anybody thinks that they don't have a problem sending Americans in to die in these wars? No, they will run you over with a bulldozer and they'll crush you. But who in their right mind would allow that to happen? So they probably shot her in the head or in the throat or in the fucking kneecaps to where she couldn't move. That's just my opinion. I mean, think about that. You're 23 years old. You're quick on your feet. You're going to let a bulldozer crush you because you don't want them to bulldoze the house. You're going to let them crush you to death. That don't make no sense, man. Who the fuck would do that? Stu Peterson, I like his take on things, talking about Lindsey Graham.
Pfizer Raytheon Israeli shekel-grabbing power-bottom butt slut Lindsey Graham is so excited that he's practically moaning as he talks about the need to sacrifice more American lives for Israel, to continue the fight, to continue the sacrifice.
And Angelique, good morning. I don't know if I said hi to you. Sorry, I get on those rants, and I just I want to go over there myself. Good morning. Good to see you.
Ritual until Israel decides that the Iranians have been sufficiently driven into the earth and that enough Americans have given their lives to Baal.
First thing you can do, in my view, to a military member or a unit is to not finish the job. We can't let our enemies believe that we're unable to pay a price for our freedom and our security. So I know the fallen would want us to continue. I know their comrades are ready to get back in the fight. We'll never be safe if our enemies believe we cannot take casualties or risk. Finish this job.
The fallen would want us to continue, he says. The fallen would want us to continue feeding their fellow Americans, their fellow soldiers, their brothers into the meat grinder so that a whole new generation of Americans can know exactly what it means to die for Benjamin Netanyahu. And it's not just for Benjamin Netanyahu, it's for the total package of the sick and twisted cabal that has ruled over this country since the installation of the Federal Reserve in 1913. Every single war that we have fought since World War I, at least, has been about strengthening the stranglehold that the Rothschild banking cabal has on humanity. Israel is the Rothschild cabal in national form. It's the nation of the cabal, and the United States is its vassal. This country fought wars to create Israel. We have fought wars to further Israel's interests and to protect Israel. And now we're fighting a war to expand Israel's borders across the entire Middle East. And everything that we're seeing right now in Iran, this is part of the plan.
Yes, and let me ask ChatGPT something. Can you tell me how many people have died in the last 4 days in this conflict with Iran, Israel, and the United States, and by country? At least 555 to 787 deaths across many cities. Most of these are Iranian civilians. and military personnel. They say civilians first. Could be up to 1,500 people. In the United States, so that's Iran, 6 people. 3 killed, an additional service member wounded, with 1 later dying of wounds, bringing the count to 6. Israel's civilian and military deaths are reported in small numbers. They're going to lie through their teeth about this. They're saying 10 to 11 Israeli deaths. I'll say it's, they're going to lie either way. Who knows? It's probably much higher than that. 3 deaths in the UAE, 1 in Bahrain, 1 in Oman, 1 in Kuwait. 2 in Iraq, 31 in Lebanon. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 countries, people have died. Maybe they didn't die in that country, but they died from that country in this conflict. And we're just getting started. We're just getting started. And they've already came out and said that, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to take months or years, but it might take a little, we said it was going to take, that this wasn't going to be overnight. Now that they're already saying that. And you can go back to Donald Rumsfeld and the invasion of Iraq, and it's just like verbatim, basically. Some U.S. veterans are in D.C., highly decorated. They look like possibly warmongers. Who knows? It's just interesting when you get opinions.
Sir, do you support the war in Iran? Not commenting on that. No commenting? Should Americans go die in Iran to keep us safe?
I'm not commenting on that.
No comment? Sir, big man, any comment from the big guy, or he just looks mean? He's a mean SOB.
Are you a veteran yourself?
No, I'm not a veteran. No, I'm not a veteran. Why'd you say that so loud?
I'm just curious.
Oh, you're just curious?
Question other veterans.
So I'm worried.
I'm here to advocate for veterans. I'm not here to do your bullshit.
Sir, calm down. Do you have PTSD, sir? Calm down, sir. So you need to settle down, sir. So you guys are okay with Americans dying in Iran, is that correct? I thought you were advocating for the veterans, for the soldiers, sir. Are you advocating for them? Do you want more disabled veterans or less? Why do people with this kind of rage get machine guns? That seems kind of unsafe. People filled with rage getting the most powerful weaponry on earth. Questionable. Scotland Yard, mate.
I'm not a fan of going up to people like that, but it's just interesting interaction because it just makes you think what's really going on. Turns everyone away from the Epstein stuff. Exactly. And then, his reaction kind of said, like, if you were to ask a veteran a question about whether he thought it was a good idea or not to be going to war with a country when it really was like in the best interest of the United States, even like halfway, that wouldn't be the response you would get from those guys. They have, like they're in a lose-lose situation because they know what it is. They know what time it is. They can't say shit. The Epstein stuff will get buried under all of this. And isn't it funny how, Bill and Hillary give, I think Bill Clinton gave like a 4.5 hour deposition. And we're at war with Iran. And when he got caught with Monica Lewinsky, he started bombing Afghanistan, trying to get bin Laden and all those guys, Al Qaeda, way back then in the 90s. It is kind of funny, Is it just a coincidence? I don't think it is. I think it's just their tactics that they use. You know, the world is complicated, but, you know, don't let one crisis go. You know, don't let it go to waste. Seize every opportunity when putting American soldiers at risk. You know what I mean? Like, make sure everybody makes their money. All of their rich friends make their money on their contracts, and we you know, you guys get to do this. You guys get to take over this power vacuum. Blah, you know what I mean? Same shit. We know what it is. I read something. I don't know if I bookmarked it, but they said that there was a 4-point something magnitude earthquake underneath Iran in the ground, and that they possibly could have tested a nuclear weapon. And when I heard that, it made me think of the picture of the hole with the plunger in it, and the cop looking down the hole on the Guthrie Ranch. It's like, what are you going to just, you know? And then in a week, we're going to hear, oh, you know, there's still reports that they possibly could have been testing a nuke. You know what I mean? Come on. It's just all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Anna Kasparian slams Iranian Zionist giggling while Senk painfully laments thousands of Americans killed in Israelis' foreign wars.
I just got to say something about
I think she meant Israeli Zionists.
I just got to say something about the laughing hyenas on screen as Cenk is talking about American soldiers getting slaughtered fighting Israel's wars.
Watch Anna Kasparian slam 2 Iranian Zionists, giggling while Cenk painfully laments thousands of Americans killed in Israel's forever wars.
They force America to spend trillions of dollars and lose American soldiers. Israel forced us into the Iraq war. We lost thousands of our own men.
That's what they're looking forward to when it comes to Iran. Laughing hyenas, absolutely disgusting, absolutely dismissive of the fact that we would be risking American lives to fight this war on behalf of their, you know, Israeli masters. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know if they think that that's going to throw me off my game.
No, please do more of that.
Yeah.
Please do more of that.
Show
because I want Americans to know what you really think about them. I want them to know.
Yeah. Do you think these 2 Zionists owe a public apology to the families of fallen troops?
No, because we don't want your apology, because we know what you are. You know, we have woken up. We know what you guys are. We know what it's all about. So don't apologize, because it means nothing. U.S. State Department asks Americans to leave West Asian countries immediately.
At the Department of State, our number one priority is the safety and the security of American citizens everywhere in the world. Now, with what's going on in the Middle East with Operation Epic Fury and the cowardly attacks that we're seeing from Iran against Gulf countries, I wanted to take this chance to speak directly to Americans who are in the Middle East about the work we are doing to try to keep you safe. So immediately following the beginning of this operation, at my direction, the State Department activated a 24/7 task force, surging personnel and resources necessary to help provide American citizens with up-to-the-minute safety and security information. Now, in order to receive these updates from the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate, you have to register with the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. You have to register with STEP, and here's where you do it. You go to step.state.gov. That's step.state.gov and register so we can reach you. We also encourage Americans abroad to follow our security updates for U.S. citizens channel on WhatsApp and follow @TravelGov on social media as well. The latest alerts are also available on travel.state.gov. That's our website, travel.state.gov. Finally, Americans in the Middle East, you can reach the Department of State 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the following phone number: 1-202-501-4444. That's 1-202-501-4444.
Sorry, I had to go make some more coffee real quick. Yeah, so if you're over there in the Middle East, time to get out, or West Asia. You get updates is all? Right. Yeah, I would just, I don't know. Tucker Carlson just hardcore cooked and exposed prominent Christian Zionist John Hagee. Let's see what this is about.
The people calling for the bombings. And then, of course, there are examples like John Hagee, one of the most prominent evangelical pastors in the United States, head of Christians United for Israel, sort of the face of Christian Zionism, politically active, a huge proponent of the war we're currently in. And he is even now considered a Christian leader. Here's John Hagee, in case you're not familiar with him.
What you do to Israel, America, God will do to us. The day we stop blessing Israel will be the day God stops blessing the United States of America. The U.S. Congress must quit arguing every year over whether or not we should send military assistance to Israel. We must continue to provide Israel with the specific capabilities and intelligence support they need to target and destroy these savages once and for all. We should sink any Iranian naval boats that threaten international shipping. If you don't really fully understand what I've just said, let me say it to you in plain Texas speech. America should roll up its sleeve and knock the living daylights out of Tehran for what they have done to Israel.
That's not Frank Gaffney. That's a Christian preacher. That's a man who tells you he is proclaiming the gospel, demanding that the U.S. government sink Iranian boats and kill these savages. That is not Christianity, and it is a deception. It's a heresy, and it is the path to total destruction, not simply of our bodies, but of the people.
Destroy these savages.
And he looks like a pedophile. He looks like he dresses in 5X underoos. He looks like the geriatric version of SpongeBob. He's built like SpongeBob SquarePants, this guy. And he's definitely a pedophile. So, I mean, but that's just par for the course with these fucking creepy guys that fucking stand up in front of podiums like that. I remember hearing this when I was a kid in church, that how long they have been prepping us. Yeah. Yep. The evangelical preachers are the worst. They are. What's the one guy? We already, when you say the one guy, I think we all think of the same guy. The one guy, the creepy guy. Let me ask ChatGPT. Who is the creepy pastor guy? And I know it's going to tell me. What? It's funny because I type in who's the creepy pastor guy and it says John Hagee, the guy we just watched. I know who this guy is. The guy, that creepy guy with the black hair. What's his name? Kenneth Copeland. That guy. Kenneth Copeland. He's the worst.
Have made and entered covenant with God. And on December the 6th, 2056, I'll see y'all later. I'm out of here. 120 years old.
I consider not my body 83 years old in the name of Jesus, but only that which God had promised. And I have a personal covenant with God to live 120 years on this earth.
But then I have a mandate before me.
But is the interview where he said that demons ride in airplanes? You remember that one? Where's it at? Maybe it's not on it. I know I could find it on YouTube, but look at this guy. Kenneth Copeland. Yeah, you preach the word of God, all right. Jimmy Baker and Jim Baker and Jimmy Swaggart too. Yeah, those guys, man. Jim and Tammy Faye. So gross. The churches are full of child molesters and gross people. Yep. They flock to them. Benjamin Netanyahu talking about who knows what.
Well, you're right. I did have spoken about it for decades, and I try to persuade successive American administrations to take firm action. And President Trump, in his first term, did. He got out of the disastrous Iran deal right off the bat, and he did everything he could to prevent them from going into the nuclear program that they seek to build atomic bombs to threaten us and you, and ultimately to attack both of us and to destroy as much as they can, because this is what these people do. They basically are in the business of mass death, and you're right to call them a death cult. I worked with several presidents. I always appreciated the fact that we had, well, forthright discussions. Often we agreed, but often we didn't. We disagreed. And I appreciated that we kept the alliance going. But I want to tell you something. I'm not a youngster, so I've been around. There's never been a president like Donald J. Trump. His resoluteness, his decisiveness, his clarity of thinking, the way he gets right to the crux of things. It cuts through all the fluff, cuts through the chase, gets down to the main point, and it gets down to the main action that needs to be taken. And I think for Israel, and I think for the countries of the free world, let me tell you, I think for the world, we're very lucky to have him as the leader of the free world, and in fact, the leader of the world. He's brought America back to being the leader of the world, and it makes a huge difference. And I can tell, I'm talking to America's allies in the region, just one by one by one. And I can't quote from these conversations, but I can tell you they all share this, and they all say, thank God that Donald Trump is here. Thank God that the two of you are acting together to remove this threat, not only to you, but to us.
Sure they are. Thank God. Thank God for Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh, listen to him blowing smoke up Trump's butt. Yeah, look at him with his eyes closed right there, too. The look of a liar. The look of a stone cold fucking liar. Yeah, you know, I was never really a fan of this guy. He had me fooled for 1 second. Pete Hegseth, not this guy right here, but the guy we're going to listen to. You know, you all know about the Secretary of War. Why you keep bringing up Biden? Aren't we all past that shit now?
I heard the question about 4 weeks. It's the typical NBC sort of gotcha type question. President Trump has all the latitude in the world to talk about how long it may or may not take. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up. It could move back. We're going to execute at his command the objectives we've set out to achieve. And what he has shown an ability to do that other presidents can't quite seem to have the aperture to do. Well, I mean, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing, is to look for opportunities and off-ramps and escalations for the United States that creates new opportunities to execute what we need on our own timeline. So you can play games about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. He has all the latitude, and I'm glad he does, because there's no better communicator than our president expressing those things. I've been in meetings with the president for the last 2.5 days. We know exactly where his headspace is, and he will communicate as he should exactly what he would like, and we will follow those orders. And I think everything he said on that is right down the middle. Absolutely. Yes, right there. Yes, sir.
You know, I give him, you know, at best, running for president of a college. You know, at best, you know, he's a mediocre speaker. That's it. He really sucks. And I hate to say it, but creepy, disgusting Adam Schiff was right. That this was going to be the most incompetent, and he may have only said it about Cash Patel, but I think he said it about this guy too. Secretary of Defense we've ever had, because it was Secretary of Defense before they changed it to war, right? He's not fun to listen to. He's just not, you know, he's just not smart. You can tell he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's clueless about anything. About, you know, anything that has to do with war, or I mean, I'm sure that the admiral there to his left can't even believe it. Marjorie Taylor Greene on Megyn Kelly. I don't know why people don't like her. You know, everybody has their own opinion. I've always been a huge fan of her, and her timeline and how she was attacked by Trump and why she was attacked. I mean, it just goes along with how I was a huge supporter of Trump just when she was, and backed away and turned away from him, and just can't fucking stand his ass now for the same reasons that she did. So, I mean, but to each their own. And I agree with her on this too.
What does that mean his decision making is? He already said to the New York Post today that he doesn't care about the polling. He doesn't care about what the American people think, and he may put troops on the ground. He took this is going to be a few-day war, to now it's going to be maybe 4 weeks or more. I want to say, what is happening to the man that I supported? You supported, the man that denounced what happened in Iraq, the man that said no more foreign wars, no more regime change, promised it on the campaign. J.D. Vance promised it. Tulsi Gabbard promised it. All of them promised it. And we're a year in, and we're in another fucking war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the fuck is happening to this country, and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
That's who we need to have as president, in my opinion, right there. You know, I don't think it works that way, because that's how fucking corrupt it is. But I would like to see it. Because she's right. We're a year in. And Make America Great Again and 250th anniversary American. What are we doing? Being Israel's bitch, basically.
Here is that Donald Trump has now created, one of the problems here is that Donald Trump has now created an incentive structure. And I got to say, this is just simply, this was the Israelis' plan. And they're just much smarter than Donald Trump. And so they were able to con him into this. Donald Trump, one of the major problems with Donald Trump is that he's weak and he's stupid. You know, these are real issues. He doesn't know anything. He goes into this shit blind, convinced that he's a genius who knows more than everyone else. One of the problems here is that Donald Trump has now created an incentive structure.
Yeah, and he's right. And, you know, Pete Hegseth too, and Patty says she agrees with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Pete Hegseth doesn't know what he's talking about. Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. Neither one of them have a clue about what they're getting themselves into. And Alex Jones predicted this just to the T, like he always does. He's been saying for months that they're going to lead Trump into a trap, and they're going to get him into this war, and he doesn't know what he's getting himself into. And it's already, the trap has sprung. They have no idea what they're doing, and they don't care. They don't care. It's not about our lives. It's about just, a deal's a deal. You wanted to be president. Here's the money. And now you gotta make it on your promise. That's what it is. That's how much control they have over us.
Years of service in the military. Yesterday, I got pulled into an officer's office and counseled for posts that I have on my social media. During the counseling, they told me I'm under investigation as a threat to national security. When I asked for proof, like what the posts were yesterday, they refused to give it to me. They made me come back today to further go over stuff. They gave me the proof, and the proof they gave me are anti-Israel posts. Now, when I joined the military, I took an allegiance to support the United States of America. I did not ever take an allegiance to support Israel. But yet, I am deemed a threat to national security because I do not support Israel and their genocide against the Palestinian people. Yes, you heard that right. I am deemed a threat to national security because I don't support Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. Since when does not supporting a foreign nation get a U.S. soldier investigated for being a threat to national security?
Yep, since when? And he's right. It's just wild. The corporations have usurped the government. And the corporations and the banks and the media, it's all owned by people that have dual citizenships in Israel. So basically, the people with all the money and all that can pull the strings of the government. And it's funny that the people in government will do anything for money. Like, if anything needs to change, we need to change that. The people that are all in government will do anything for money. We got to get rid of those people somehow, some way. That system needs to change, where we don't have people in government that will do anything for money. He has a great point. So glad he is speaking out. This is what we need. Yes. Yeah. And it's crazy that they're, and it just goes to show you that it is all about Israel controls everything. It's probably a little bit more complicated than that, but we'll just use the name Israel. The Zionist, Jewish, corporate, military, industrial, academic complex, those guys. They run everything, and, this is their war, and it's very obvious. It's crazy that it happened so quickly that, none of this was fucking a thing. Even when Trump got elected, we weren't even fucking talking about Israel occupying America, and none of this existed until he became president. So a lot of these guys that signed up for the military, they just had the fucking rug pulled out from underneath of them. Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, when did our military, you know what I mean? Like, did they come in overnight and put up fucking, those star flags? I think they did. But if you speak out like this, you are labeled anti-Semitic. Yes, the good old anti-Semitic. That the ADL, and AIPAC, and all that runs strong there in DC. So I say you got to be careful where Trump gets your money from. I say you got to be, because Trump had to be careful where he got his money from, and he wasn't. And now this is why he's got that sick look on his face.
It's looking like war with Iran, ladies and gentlemen, war with Iran. I don't know how many Goyim must die for the Khazarian Empire to be reinstalled, but can I just say that they really did a good job gaslighting us last year, didn't they? They just lie. It's amazing how they lie. You guys are panicins. That's what they called us, panicins. After Operation Midnight Hammer, which was Trump agreeing on a limited strike on Iran's nuclear sites. We told you the truth back then. They wanted a full-scale war. That's what Bibi wanted. That's what the Zionists around Trump wanted. And the one person who stood between America's involvement with a full-scale war in Iran was Charlie Kirk. If Charlie Kirk was at the White House and he convinced Trump that it was a terrible idea that would crater his support and ruin his legacy. Bibi and his minions, they were angry about that. Charlie Kirk, 31-year-old, he's the person that's stopping us from getting what we want. It is my personal belief that that is the very reason that they colluded to have that obstacle eventually removed just months later. That's what my timeline reveals to me, that it is very likely a plan was set in motion after Charlie beat Bibi's desires at the White House. Now, I believe on the basis of evidence that Charlie's murder was likely a very sophisticated military operation that was meant, and here's the funny part, this is how insane these people are, ironically, they wanted his murder to galvanize American support behind Israel. That was their plan. That's why Bibi immediately got on the air to remind you all how much he loved Israel, right? They wanted to all get out there and say that because they didn't want us to learn that Charlie had actually abandoned their cause entirely. So Charlie was removed, and in his place, we got a Shabbat Shalomin, not so grieving widow. This is the book my Charlie wanted you to read. He just finished it. He loves the Jews. He just finished speaking about how much he loves to Shabbat and to Shalom and to say daddy's home and to throw down his phone, Barry Weiss. It's just incredible when you think about it all coming together.
Yep. It is incredible. So, I mean, Candace would know, and she's the one that's saying it. This is why they killed Charlie Kirk. Because he would be, probably, because Alex Jones already is compromised, he would be the guy that would be speaking out about it the most. And be able to explain what's really going on better than anybody.
I mean, look, nobody stopped North Korea, so they now have ballistic missiles and nuclear warheads. But they don't say death to America. Iran is 50 North Koreas. Iran is committed to your destruction. I mean, look.
Right. Sure they are.
That we are fighting today, the battle that the Maccabees fought. They fought for the survival of the Jewish people and the Jewish faith against an enemy that wanted to extinguish us, wipe us out from the face of the earth. We were fighting our battle, but we were also fighting the battle of civilization, because our civilization is based on the Judeo-Christian tradition. And if the Maccabees had failed, there'd be no Judaism, there would be no Judeo-Christian civilization. there would be no Huckabees. There would be no United States. There wouldn't be the civilization of freedom.
There would be no United States. Yeah. No, there would be no United States if maybe it wasn't for the soldiers of World War II, World War I. You know what I mean? No mention of that. I don't see an American flag up there. I see Israel flags. This guy. Fucking bullshit. So United States, you know, and the Judeo and the biblical and this and the Jews and the United States wouldn't exist, and give me a break, right? Patty says, "Oh, please, dude." Yep, exactly. Just please give us a break already with this fucking guy. I think this is the last video of Netanyahu, but he admits that the war is going to take a while.
I said it could be quick and decisive. It may take some time, but it's not going to take years. It's not an endless war. In fact, it's an effort right now to achieve the peace that we all yearn and pray for. And I think together we'll achieve it. I said it's...
Yeah, it's not going to be years. Not going to take years. And another one of our favorites, Ben Shapiro, days before this happened.
If the United States backs off of this and cuts some sort of unbelievably weak deal, the consequences will not just be for the Middle East, where Israel will be forced to ramp up its military even more and probably go and attack Iran itself, given Iran's capacity and increasing capacity in both nuclear and ballistic missile development and its renewed attempts to support terrorism. If the United States backs off...
What a schmuck. Like to see one of those ballistic missiles hit Ben Shapiro's house. That'd be cool. In Pennsylvania, they decided to make the 0 with a line through it on the license plate, making it look like an 8 to the cameras, resulting in thousands of motorists wrongfully charged for tolls they never went through. So if you're in Pennsylvania and you have a new license plate with the 0, be aware of that.
Pennsylvania recently made a huge mistake when they issued their new license plates. As you can see here, their old license plates had a 0 that looked like a regular 0, but you can see my new truck plate that I just got, the 0 has a slash through it. And unfortunately, the Easy Pass system on the Pennsylvania Turnpike thinks that is an 8. So people are getting charged or not charged for their tolls, and that is going to be a huge problem. Way to go.
So we have that. They're asking this guy from Israel, what about the schools you hit and killed all those schoolgirls?
Ambassador, what would you say about the school that was hit? You posted this picture here, but do you have any comment about the school that was hit during the U.S.-Israeli strike on Iran?
So I have seen different reports. Some reports show that it was actually IRGC attack that targeted this school. I don't have the exact information, but I will tell you that we regret the loss of life of any civilian, and we pray for the people of Iran. But we have the intelligence, and we target military assets. That's what we do. The Iranians, they do exactly the opposite. Thank you.
Ambassador, what would you say about the school that was hit?
So there's that. They regret the loss of life. This was in Montana yesterday. So they got helicopters flying around. Who knows what that is? Senator Warner, there is no threat to the United States by Iran. There was a threat to Israel. So this guy, you know, and we all know that.
Let's also be clear. I've said before, I've said now, there was no imminent threat to the United States of America by the Iranians. There was a threat to Israel. If we equate a threat to Israel as the equivalent of an imminent threat to the United States, then we are in uncharted territory.
We know this. I just saw the Titanic immersive experience here in Tampa. Now you can actually go down with the ship. Oh, you just seen that it is here in Tampa. So is that like it must be a traveling thing or what? Let me see. The Artifact Exhibition. Yeah, it looks cool. It's got real artifacts, immersive experience, passenger stories, touching the 28-degree water, experience the tilted decks. $40 a ticket. Not too bad. Sounds like it would be fun, right? Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm always down to try things like that. Hillary Clinton and Nancy Mace going at it.
That's the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're going to yell
This
at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at
time
me.
doing.
I'm a
I
survivor
spent
trying to look out for other
Well,
survivors, trying to
and
keep the
I
bottom
was
of it.
taking care
You
of
waited
the
6
people
months
who
to get
lost
here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I have
about
met
Howard
with
Lutnick.
Epstein survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did
but
not.
Howard Lutnick was
If
used
you
to
have an
get
email
money.
with me asking Jeffrey
I
Epstein
have
for
an
money,
email from Howard Lutnick sending it to Jeffrey Epstein and his people to
I
raise
don't-
money for
I don't
you
know
for
about-
an event, an intimate event for you at his offices
Well,
at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're
look,
going to sit
if
here
you-
today
if you would
and,
let me
and,
finish.
and obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey
I didn't.
Epstein when
I
there was
didn't.
an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to put it. You want to yell at me, that's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for
it's
survivors.
very-
I'm doing
look.
the job that you would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
no,
Congresswoman.
I'm going to finish answering the question, which I have a right to do. I am very sympathetic to your personal situation. I have read about it. I have seen you testify or speak on the floor about it. And I very much sympathize with not only what you went through, but appreciate your effort to stand up for survivors. I was a senator representing the people who were murdered on 9/11. Nobody lost more people than Howard Lutnick. You can say whatever you want. You can call him and have him appear before the committee. But I knew him as the man who lost the employees that he knew intimately, including his brother.
Yeah. So you're gonna go check it out? Yeah, that would be fun. It'd be cool to see. It'd be cool to see. Wonder if they let you take video in there or pictures. The GE9X was set to become the largest and most powerful commercial jet engine ever built, and its development reflects GE's strong position in the wide-body market. So it's just kind of a cool video on testing a jet engine.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale.
That says May 2017. This must be an old video. Interesting. Let's see here. Yeah, we don't even need to watch that one. Those are all the videos I have today. So I think I'll go ahead and end it and figure out what I'm going to do with myself for the rest of the day. But I appreciate you hanging out, Patty. Hopefully nothing bad happens today, but I have a feeling that something is going to happen today over there. Hope not, but have a good time. Have a good day, everyone. I'm going to call my daughter and wish my granddaughter happy birthday and tell them to have a good time over there and on the cruise ship. I was going to look at cruises, but we could do that tomorrow. I didn't do too much research. I was looking at what was the name of the one? It's the newest one that they have for Disney. They have a bunch of them, but it doesn't even look cool. It has a haunted mansion bar that look cool, but other than that, and way too expensive. You can spend up to $35,000 for the main room, like the big room that they have on the top on that cruise. $35,000. Screw that. But they want to go on a cruise this summer. I feel guilty that I didn't go this time, so I'm definitely going to go. We're gonna plan one for this summer. But I don't really want to go on a Disney cruise, but we might have to because, obviously be for my granddaughter mostly. Royal Caribbean has some really cool ships. That's what I would want to do, but it looks like they're more for like older kids and not young kids. So I don't know. I'm going to wait and see what my daughter says about this one. See if she was a fan of the Disney cruise or not. So looked like they were having a good time though. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.